647, a new study from Pew Research showing that social media actually increases stress levels. Dr. Pamela Smith, a health and wellness expert, now joins us. Doctor, great to have you here.
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Good, good. You're out of the Detroit area. What do you have a specialty, or are you primary care, or how would you describe it?
Well, actually, I'm a metabolic medicine specialist, so we look at how the body works, and we're metropolitan Detroit and Ann Arbor.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, a metabolic what?
Metabolic medicine.
Oh, okay.
So it's personalized medicine. We look at how the body works for each person.
Gotcha. And well, I guess we all have a different metabolic situation. Most of our metabolic situations aren't very good. Is that fair to say?
Well, no. Well, we're all a work in progress. We'll put it that way.
So this study is interesting because I guess a lot of people they seem addicted to social media. What do you make of this information that actually increases stress levels? Do you buy it?
I do, and I'll tell you why. The science is here where we can really measure the stress hormone cortisol. And when you measure that hormone, you do have to have some downtime. So if you spend all of your time on the computer, on your phone, social media, without some downtime, then it does increase cortisol, the stress hormone. And when cortisol stays high all the time, then your cholesterol can go up, blood sugar can go up, blood pressure can go up, you can gain weight. So the whole idea is better balance.
Yeah. Why do people seem to get so attached to something that can be so harmful, though?
Well, actually, some studies are showing that it may really affect the neurotransmitters and how the electrical impulses go across the nerve cells when we don't unplug a little bit. There's certainly nothing wrong with social media. It's more just about having a little downtime to go with it.
And so when you're experiencing this cortisol hormone, does it actually feel bad, or can it actually be stimulating somehow?
Well, it can be stimulating, and that's part of the problem, is that when it stays high, it does drive up something called epinephrine and something called norepinephrine, and those two neurotransmitters really give you a high. And so you kind of get addicted in an odd sort of way.
Gotcha. Do you have should you be kind of have a conscious feeling of when you are stressed? Is that typical, or are we not aware of it somehow?
Many of us are not aware when we're stressed. In fact, in my own patients, when I measure their cortisol levels, at least half of them are surprised that their cortisol is not normal. A lot of times they don't feel stressed. They're just used to going at Mach 10 all the time.
Oh, so you're measuring their cortisol just you're saying when they're getting a checkup, essentially? Yes,
it is actually a saliva test, and they take the test home and they measure their cortisol at 8 in the morning, 12 noon, 4 p.m., and about 10 p.m. at night.
Oh, so it's different times, and what is it high throughout the whole day, or what do you typically see?
Well, there's really a variety of things that we see. And again, when you're first stressed, the cortisol is too high. But if you've been stressed for a long time, the cortisol level will be too low. People still make cortisol, but not enough to help them be as healthy as they could.
Really? Oh, so what, you burn yourself out, essentially?
Essentially. You have to have cortisol to live. If your body stops making cortisol, you literally die in 7 days. So the body will preferentially make that hormone above most of the other hormones in the body.
Really interesting. So it's a negative hormone, but still essential in some ways.
Well, it's not a negative hormone. It just has to be balanced like everything else.
Yeah. This is off tangent, but when we talk about hormones, I've had a lot of doctors. They're talking about sugar and this hormone insulin. Is that part of what you study too in your medicine?
Absolutely. Insulin is a hormone that has to balance too. Too high is not a good thing. Too low is not a good thing. So that one has to be perfectly balanced as well.
This idea that insulin is a key factor for why we have such weight issues, do you think that's the case?
We know it is. When we get a perfect insulin, which is fasting, at 6, then commonly it does promote weight loss. And the really new studies are showing insulin has a big effect on memory. In fact, there's now something called type 3 diabetes. And what type 3 diabetes is Alzheimer's disease.
Interesting. So the whole issue of sugar, does that fit into the work you do in terms of this concern over insulin?
Absolutely. We want everybody's blood sugar to be perfect, and we really are all a work in progress. And if you stay stressed long term, it does cause insulin commonly not to be perfect.
Gotcha. I'm curious, you are an MD, but do you do a lot of dietary advice? I mean, do you end up talking about diet primarily, or?
We do. In metabolic medicine, really, to be very healthy, you do need to exercise the right amount. It does matter how you eat, and it does matter where your nutritional status stands along with your hormonal status. And it really is a very personalized medicine approach.
Gotcha. The food you eat, it will have a huge impact on your hormone balance?
It does. If you eat a lot of sugar all the time, then the hormone insulin does have a direct effect even on your male and female hormones.
On your actual sex hormones, you're saying?
It does.
Negative effect, I'm guessing?
Well, it really is all about balance.
Right.
The hormones in the body, all of them are a symphony, and so if one of them plays out of tune, then you don't have optimal health. The good news is the science is here to actually help balance all this so that most people can be as healthy as they'd like to be.
Interesting. One last thing. When you do a basic hormone check, is there a typical number of hormones you're looking at? Or?
It depends. We can even look at a hormone you may never have heard of called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is your hormone of memory. So you even have a hormone for memory as well.
That sounds like, I'm sure there are more hormones than you can really look at in any reasonable amount of time. Dr. Pamela Smith, health and wellness expert. I'll have to have you on to talk about hormones specifically. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great night.